Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads here on Monday, the 19th of June. How are we all doing? First of all, it's a lot cooler in this room than it has been over the last 3 weeks, I can tell you that much. I've still got the curtains drawn. I have still got a fan next to me here. However, it is a much cooler temperature. It's not absolutely baking. I'm not sat here sweating. That's fantastic. The weather is still really nice outside, even though it has been raining this morning. So, yes, I hope I'm nice and cool. I hope you guys obviously are too. But yeah, we didn't. You may have seen that the Ice Cream Uploads was inactive over the weekends in terms of streams and things like that. Back to normal this weekend. We are back to normal. Not with Chasing Craze with Mates, but there will be some streams this afternoon. There will be some streams at weekend. So, yeah, normal service will be resumed-ish this weekend and this week as well. I'm hoping to be able to bring you 5 episodes of The Scoop this week, providing that there isn't any meetings that overrun or there isn't a million other things that need to be done in between now and obviously Friday. But we're starting the week strong. Here is today's episode of The Scoop. And if you are listening to this on demand, thank you very much for finding us. Clearly, you've already given us 5 stars. You've already followed the podcast on all the podcast services that also include Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon Music. There we go. If you are watching this and you're getting to see my lovely face, you will notice that Graham isn't here yet. He is off still the remainder of this week. He is on a cruise somewhere. He did tell me where. Completely forgot already. So I do apologise if you are wanting to know about where Graham's roundabouts is at this current time. I have no idea. He is in America somewhere. That's all I know. But he'll be back next week, and also back with him will be the Double Trouble campaign that we are running, where you can join him, potentially lead yourselves to glory, and then get a massive Astro bundle at the end of the year too. So Tracing Crates with Mates will be back next week too. Straight off the bat, JMK's in with exclamation mark time. Got there before you today. He is mortified with the what and 17,000 different question marks at the end of that. Guy gets in nice and early as well, saying good morning all. Pidge says how do. Jay says morning all, and we said, did we get a birdie for Nietzsche? He didn't want a birdie. I got many birdies last week. However, I didn't get an eagle. That is what he wanted, and unfortunately I couldn't provide him one. To be fair, I think out of the 7 or 8 1v1s that we ended up playing, I think there was probably only one eagle opportunity on there. And yeah, I ended up missing the putt for it. But you are at the mercy of the golf course gods giving you a drivable par 4 or something along those lines. Like, there wasn't many eagle opportunities to be able to had unless you was dunking from like 140, 150 yards out. So yeah, the eagle opportunities were few and far between. One, and he ended up bottling that. And we did get quite a lot of birdies. We ended up winning 1 out of the 7 or 8 games that we ended up playing, which is a streak that I haven't been on before. It's usually you'd win 3 or 4, lose 1, win 3 or 4, lose 1. But I don't know. I was playing terribly. All the people I was playing against was way too good. A mixture of the both. I don't think I played as well as I usually do, especially on stream. So that's unfortunate on my behalf. And I do apologise for my performances that we're playing. But I mean, I did play a lot of Diablo this weekend, though. I did the PlayStation 5 remote play stuff on my laptop downstairs with the internet that I have worked absolutely perfect. So I probably played like, I don't know, 8 hours of it this weekend, which is a lot of game time for me. But it was absolutely pissing it down yesterday and late Saturday, I think. So yeah, I did stay up later this weekend watching the golf and playing some Diablo at the same time. Really enjoying it. I did go into a few caves that I probably shouldn't have done and got my ass handed to me. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying the Diablo experience so far. It's easy to see why people are obviously trying to get through that game as fast as possible. But I hope you guys obviously had a good weekend too, whether or not that you was playing games or doing stuff with the family and that. This week, new week, we don't have any, I don't think we have anything massive, not in terms of video game news, but announcements for this week. I don't think we've got anything. If I have, I've completely forgotten about it, so I do apologise if that is the case, but I don't think I have. Usually, I'm a lot more organised than I used to be. I use my calendar like a madman now. My calendar's literally just full of stuff that is going on from a week-to-week basis. So, no, I don't think we've got anything going on this week. Obviously, we will be streaming again this weekend. I don't know what it is going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be more PGA stuff because I'm just genuinely obsessed with that game at this moment in time. So, yeah, do follow us on twitch.tv/icecreamuploads if that's the kind of thing, the kind of vibe that you wanted to rock with. I did actually want to get more people playing Quake Champions, which in the Discord, !Discord if you're in the chat, seems to have fallen on deaf ears, which I'm not too happy about you guys about. You guys want to play some Quake Champions? Let's get into it. Little 8-man custom lobbies. Let's go ahead and get involved with it because it is a fantastic game. Did play a little bit more of it this weekend. I'm trying to resist the urge from playing it too much so that when I go into the office, I'm not destroying everyone. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's quite nice having people on a level playing field. If someone was to go in and play it for like 40 hours more than everybody else, it might not be as good. But I'm thoroughly enjoying playing that game. I'm loving the fact that the Jelly Media office is banging into it too. So, yeah, small civil war breaking out with people wanting to play Fortnite and Quake Champions. I hope that this afternoon we end up playing some more Quake Champions. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, but you're here to listen to me talk about video game news, and by God, that is exactly what I'm going to do for this afternoon. We have 4 news stories available. I've kind of went on a little bit of a clickbaity stuff, which is you've come to expect from me now when I go to do my titles, stating that is Halo still in Microsoft's good books? Large explanation for that, which is going to be our lead story today, and you can kind of see where I'm aiming at with this. I'm not necessarily picking up the headline and running with it. I'm kind of looking a little bit deeper into it. And then we have some Battlefield news, which isn't necessarily Battlefield news, but stuff of the same ilk. Then we have some Callisto Protocol news coming at you. If you have already completed that game, this is going to be right up your street. And also some Valorant news, a game that's definitely fallen off of my radar. However, with a new game mode being added back into that game or added to that game, it's definitely stuff that's back on my radar again. So I think we should go into the first news article of today then. When Graham comes back, he will be getting hammered by you all on Quake. He will not play Quake. I'm telling you now, regardless of the setup that he's got, he could have the best computer in the world, the best keyboard and mouse. He will not play that game. It's too fast for him. I know that. And it makes it sound like I'm saying that he's shit. I just know he'll look at that and go, looks like a good time. I'm just not playing it. Because it's just far too flicky, it's far too quick. I don't know whether or not he has the history that a lot of people in the office have when it comes to playing the likes of Quake and Unreal. So I'm guessing he'll probably just stay as far away from that kind of thing as possible. Is it because he's old? I'm not going to say that, no, because there's people in the office that are a good 7 or 8 years older than me and probably 3 or 4 years older than him, but played those games 20 years ago and have that history with it. And they know how to play those games, whereas playing mouse and keyboard on a game as fast as that, I don't think is Graham's bag. I know it's not Graham's bag, so he will not be touching that. He'll just be saying that somebody else is shit, and their shit, and their shit, and their shit, and now I'm Bibby's top of the leaderboard again. I don't know if Super Jim's in here yet, and he's just listening to me waffle on about how good I am at that game, but I am. I've been top of the leaderboard twice out of about 5 games in the office, so that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Bibby is the winner. Anyway, moving on to our first news article then. Phil Spencer says that Halo wasn't at the Xbox showcase because it has a lot more games now. Season 4 of Halo Infinite drops next week, and this was published on the 18th, which was yesterday. So whether or not this week is next week or next week is this week, we'll find out. But anyway, Kuhnke goes on to say Halo Infinite was notably missing from the Xbox recent showcase, so Xbox head Phil Spencer clarified why that was. It's safe to say that Halo has fallen from grace just a touch in recent years, made even worse by Halo Infinite, a game that has struggled since launch, but nonetheless is of a tentpole of Xboxes. It was a bit odd that there wasn't just a small something just to remind players that the game exists, not even mention the fact that Season 4 is literally launching next week. Now, in an interview with The Guardian, Spencer has a lot more perspective on why it didn't appear, noting that it's more that the Xbox has a lot more games to show now. I wouldn't say Halo is of lesser importance, but we do have over 20 studios now, Spencer said. I'll go back in the years where I had basically 4 games: Fable, Forza, Halo, and Gears, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. We have a lot more games now, it's true, but the most recent showcase was one that actually showed us the fruits of all the studios it acquired over the last few years. Even none of them are out this year. Just give me 1 second while I just close my Slack, otherwise you're going to think it's yours. There we go. We've been pretty public about the leadership changes at 343 Industries. Spencer continued that you can see a lot of some of the social things that the team have been doing around the seasons, but I don't want to force them to talk about their longer term vision until that they're ready. I think you'll see some pretty cool things coming. It's more than understandable that 343 Industries don't want to show what isn't ready. But again, the trailer for Season 4 of Halo Infinite dropped a couple of days ago and only about a week after the showcase. All around, the odd choice to omit what could have been one of Xbox's biggest titles begs the question of whether or not we're witnessing the death of the Halo franchise. Now, I know there's 2 different headlines that I've been given here. One was obviously from myself. The other is the small part of what Phil Spencer said about having other games in their armory at this moment in time, which I fully agree with. Halo isn't at a place, in my opinion, from someone who absolutely loves Halo, not to the point where I'm like a super hardcore fan or anything like that. I've played every single Halo that there is to play. Thoroughly enjoyed them, especially in the multiplayer aspects of the game. But Halo Infinite did not stick the landing, and we're nearly getting into Season 4 at this moment in time, and people are still talking about the failure of what Season 1 was. So Halo, for me, still has half a hill to be able to climb, to be able to try and claw back my interest in playing this game. Do I want to install it and play a little bit of Season 4 to see what it has to offer? Absolutely. Do I still think that Halo is an absolute juggernaut of FPS games? Absolutely. Halo will always have the name. It's just unfortunate at this moment in time that it doesn't quite have the bite that it once had. I do believe that Halo will come full circle and we will start to see more of what made Halo great. I think we are still a little way off of that yet. But I do agree with him. Phil Spencer is saying that he doesn't want to show something that it isn't being ready to show yet. Absolutely. Why make a trailer for something that when you end up coming out at this moment in time, especially after the failure that they've had for the first 3 seasons, and I'm using failure as not necessarily a dig, but not something in a positive light. I know that's kind of what both of those words mean, but it's not me just literally shitting on them from a great height. I believe that they know at this moment in time that they don't have the Halo game that you guys want to be able to play, and what the wider world wants to be able to try and embrace again. They've got, again, a massive uphill to climb to be able to try and claw some of that back. I think they know that, which is why they're kind of going underneath the radar. Like, Battlefield have made a song and dance over the last 18 months to try and get people back on side again after their disastrous 2042 launch. Like, there is no denying that launch was a 1 out of 10, a 0.5 out of 10. They know that they didn't stick that landing. They missed the helipad completely. So they're trying their best to try and bring people back, and they have started to do that. There is a lot of ground that's been made up from the gameplay changes that they've implemented, the season passes that they've been putting back out there, which are bringing people back, the class system, which they've completely revamped, the maps that they're putting out there are making people want to reinstall that game again. The fun is starting to creep back into what made Battlefield a good game in the first place, and that is the same thing that Halo's going through at this moment in time. We are seeing the old guard struggling to keep up with what people want now. Like X-Defiant coming out of open beta or going into an open beta in the next couple of weeks is literally taking people back to what made FPS great. And they want that kind of experience. They want the old style Call of Duty and Battlefield games and what it made Halo great. They've kind of moved away from. So I can see why Phil Spencer's starting to omit them from their presentations, especially, like you said, he's got so many other studios that are making fantastic games, well-anticipated games. I can understand why they're starting to give them a little bit more spotlight, take Halo out of it, go and sort your stuff out behind closed doors, and then as things start to get a little bit better and you've got a lot more things to be able to show, I feel like that's a very balanced way of being able to showcase what your game is about again, and I think that's a very smart way of bringing Halo back into the foray. Zeta says I downloaded it and not played much of it at all. Is that Halo that you're talking about there, Tito. Good morning, by the way. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some Halo. Whether or not I'm going to play it on my PC, I do like playing Halo mouse and keyboard, so I do have a spare mouse and keyboard underneath here. This might be something that I can plug into my Xbox Series S and X, so I can still obviously have my PC keyboard and mouse here. Whether or not I want to play it on the best settings possible. We obviously saw this weekend that I can't even play Quake Champions on high difficulty, on high settings while streaming at the same time. It just doesn't like it. I do have my work laptop that I could potentially place here and then capture from, and be able to do it that way instead. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure it out as time goes on. But in terms of what Halo are doing at this moment in time, like it. I like the fact that they're doing stuff behind closed doors, and I can't wait to see a little bit more of what. Yeah, it's crash the stream. I know, mate. Like, I need my CPU and my PC just isn't up to scratch anymore. It's now. How long have I lived in this house for? 4 years. 2019, I moved in. Or was it 2020? I know I got married in 2019, moved in 2020. So yeah, I've been in this 3 years. It's about 5 or 6 years old now. It may be even a little bit more than that. So yeah, I do need to update it at some point, but it's not an absolute priority for me at this moment in time, especially with having a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X that can play anything that you throw at it. It's not a priority of mine at this moment in time. But yeah, it did crash the stream. By the way, I am wearing a t-shirt with Jenkins' face on it today, so I do hope that you appreciate this. He did send me one of these as well as Graham. So yeah, I do enjoy wearing his face on my top. But speaking of Battlefield, we do have some Battlefield-ish news for you today. I'll bring that up for you now so we can discuss it. Written again on VG247 and again by Kuhnke. Low poly Battlefield-like BattleBit Remastered outsells Starfield on Steam top sellers. Now, this was another one that I was potentially going to go with as a title today. But even for me, this was a bit of a stretch. So bear with me and I'll give you my reasoning as to why I didn't. So BattleBit Remastered, a blocky shooter made by just 4 people, has skyrocketed to the top of Steam's top sellers list. I'll just mute that so it's not blaring through. Overtaking games like Cyberpunk 2077 and Starfield. Some people like a go-to about the graphics when they're the most important thing in all of gaming, but we actually know that is pretty much trivial. That's been proven in a pretty effective way on Steam recently, as the current top seller on Steam is a game called BattleBit Remastered, a low-poly, massive multiplayer FPS supporting 256 players per server. Take one look at it and you might be mentally thinking that it looks like a game from several console generations ago, but clearly something is hitting with fans. As noted by PC Gamer, it's important to note that Steam ranks top sellers by revenue, not how many copies have been sold. The game is only £12.79, which makes it that of an achievement of all the more impressive, and that means that it's earned more than games like Starfield, sitting at 7th place at the time of writing. Cyberpunk 2077 5th place, and the Steam Deck in 4th place, with Counter-Strike Global Offensive 2nd place, of which is a free-to-play game. Starfield is obviously the top 10 because of the recent showcase, but will obviously have made people excited for it. Cyberpunk 2077 is half off at the minute, so that explains that. The Steam Deck is also expensive, but that isn't a surprise either. BattleBit only just launched this week in an early access release, and is a standard for many games of its ilk. Reviews are currently sitting at very positive, with more than 7,000 players offering their opinions of the game. A number of them saying that it was the effect of Battlefield if Battlefield was good. For context, Battlefield 2042 was generally negatively received by fans, though despite that, its 5th season won't be its last. Essentially, if you're looking for something to fill that Battlefield-shaped hole in your heart, this is the game to go for. Destructible environments, massive scale, and vehicles, it has it all. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I was alluding to before in terms of what Battlefield is starting to claw back. I know this is obviously based off of what Battlefield used to be. However, for those of you that are old enough will understand how much of an impact Battlefield had. If you are between the ages of probably 14 to 20, you won't know the impact that Battlefield had in the FPS genre. And it's good to see that games like this are obviously taking that kind of inspiration and making a game off the back of it. That said, the game is £12.79. It's affordable and it's available right now, which is obviously why it's managed to propel itself all the way up to the top 10 games being sold by Steam. People obviously are waiting to see what Starfield is going to be like, and of course there are going to be people that have pre-ordered those games. However, it's not available until the end of the year. People might not want to part with that cash now to be able to invest in the game later on. People might want to get this game on Game Pass day one, which is obviously why they're not putting their hands in the pocket for it now, despite obviously the showcase that we had last week for Starfield and the massive amount of people that are waiting to get stuck into what Starfield has to offer. It's a nice story, this, and I'm glad that it's getting, from the gameplay that we've seen, the respect that it deserves, because I think it looks like a fantastic game and a game that I will be playing in the next couple of weeks or so when I get time to jump into something that I'm not already playing. This is a game that I'm looking forward to being able to play because I love FPS games. I love old school. Like I've been playing some Proteus this week, and for those of you that don't know what Proteus is, it's very much an early 90s inspired Doom-like Quake kind of game, Duke Nukem kind of game with the pixel art that it has. But obviously, when you shoot someone, the blood flies out, but it looks a little bit more realistic than some sort of blocky Doom-like blood. It's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, it's available on Game Pass. Go ahead and try it. It's a brilliant game. But those games get my attention because of the nostalgia that I have of playing those games 25 years ago. Bear in mind, I'm 32 now, so I definitely shouldn't have been playing those games that long ago, but here we are. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of this. It might be a game that I actually watch this afternoon whilst I'm doing some more reports and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that people are starting to put their hand in the pocket and support games like this, as will I do in the very, very near future. Tiddle says, outrageous clickbait. Did you write it, Bibby? No comment. But no, I didn't write that one. But anyway, we have two more news articles today. Again, I do apologise that these shows seem a lot shorter than usual. That is usually because me and Graham would just be waffling about one topic for about 45, 50 minutes and then think, shit, we're nearly out of time. Then we end up rushing 3 articles at once. But yeah, the dynamic of having two people discuss the news obviously isn't here, and that's where you're getting me and you guys that are in the chat as well that are helping move the show along. But we're going at the pace that I think is applicable. So, written on Game Ball by Shunal Doke, they go on to say that the Callisto protocol is getting its final transmission DLC on June the 27th. Let me just move that. The Callisto protocol is getting DLC, will act as the game's final chapter at the end of the month. It is actually a game that I'm still yet to go ahead and play. I will get around to playing it at some point. But anyway, developer Striking Distance Studios has announced that the ultra-violent horror, the Callisto protocol, I apologise, that sip of coffee just made me dead gassy. We'll be getting DLC and the final transmission. The DLC, described by the studio as the final chapter in the Callisto protocol, will be available on June 27th for the PlayStation before being released to other platforms on June 29th. The studio has posted a 21-second teaser for the final transmission DLC. While not showing us much in the way of gameplay, it does give us a brief glimpse of what we can come to expect from the DLC in terms of the story, which you can check out below. Since its release back in December 2022, the Callisto protocol has seen quite a few updates in its release over time, including Riot Mode DLC back. Is that meant to say pack? Riot Mode DLC back in May, and the Contingent Mode DLC back in March, and a free update back in April that allowed players to skip cutscenes. The Callisto protocol is available for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X. For more details about the title, check out our review, as well as our thoughts on what went wrong with the game, which obviously you can see the trailer, which I was alluding to in there before as well. So, for someone who's a massive Dead Space fan, and again, I'm going to get to a point here where I still haven't played the Dead Space remake yet either. Again, the backlog is real. The time that I have to be able to play games at this moment in time is at an all-time low. But yeah, the final transmission for Callisto Protocol, it might be something that I end up waiting for, like a collector's edition or a bundle or something like that, where I get all of the DLC for one price or something like that and get a playthrough all at once. A game that I was super looking forward to as and when it was coming out, and again, I'm making all the apologies in the world for not getting around to play this, because this definitely is a game that I should and probably will do at some point play on stream. Talk Shows says, didn't have enough melee. Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen, it looked an amazing game, and from what I've heard, people have mixed reviews on what this game was and potentially should have been. But that is for another day and another argument. So if you are someone that obviously has played a lot of Callisto Protocol or played through it once and want to see some more of it, you are going to be getting some DLC on the 29th of June, or obviously play it 48 hours earlier if you have a season pass or something like that to be able to get through. He didn't mention it in this, but the tweet says play 48 hours early on June 27th, exclusively on PlayStation. That's where the bundle part comes into it. Yeah, if you have bought this on PlayStation, you can play it earlier than all the other platforms that are out there. So yeah, we have one final news piece for today, and this is related to yet again another FPS, but this time over on PC, as Valorant finally gets a Team Deathmatch mode written on Eurogamer by our friend over there, Vikki Blake. She goes on to say that Team Deathmatch is on the way to Valorant, set to go live on the 27th of June, which is the same day that you can play Callisto Protocol 48 hours earlier, with the new mode which arrives on patch 7.0 and lets you and your teammate go up against an enemy on one of 3 new maps. Team Deathmatch is on its way, and Xbox pulling the strings, the team teases, preparing for 3 new maps, high-octane action, and plenty of ways to flex your play. There are 4 time stages and no econ. Respawn every 1.5 seconds. First to 100 kills wins. Each match will last a little shy of 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 30 seconds to be precise, and are split into 4 stages. In usual team deathmatch rules, the first team to rack up 100 kills wins, with the leading team taking the victory. If the clock runs out beforehand, tied scores will end in a draw. You'll get to choose your your loadout at the start of the match and on each stage, or any time that you're in the spawn room. With each stage, your loadout and lethality, I've never heard that word before, will automatically be upgraded, and the team adds. Team Deathmatch is set to take place in one of 3 custom maps, Piazza, District, and Kashbar. For more details, head over to the official website. So a game that we actually played quite a lot of on launch over on this channel. Valorant is a game that I'm yet to go back to, probably in 2 years at this moment in time. I think probably the last time that I played this, in fact, it's longer than that. It was when I lived in my old house, and since then, obviously, I've moved on to other games as well. So yeah, Valorant has been a long time since we played through that. We did play it quite a lot on this channel when it did come out. Obviously, away from the channel as well, we managed to get 5 of us heavily playing this most nights, to be honest. So yeah, it's a Team Deathmatch is definitely something that's more up my street. However, I do love the search and destroy tactical side of things. So yeah, is this something that I'm going to install and have a look again? Probably not. It might be something that I end up watching people play on Twitch that then usually inspires me to re-download it myself and get stuck into it again. But yeah, Valorant coming out on the 27th of June, some Team Deathmatch action. So if you are looking for those kind of game modes in Valorant, that is where you're going to be able to see it. And unfortunately, that is the last news article for us to be able to go through on this show. Again, I've managed to bring you 4 news articles in the space of probably like 25 minutes. So if you are having a jog, having a run, walking the dog or whatever, this is a nice bite-sized show for you guys as well. So I do appreciate you all sticking around. We will be going live again tomorrow, as is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're going to bring you 4 more episodes of The Scoop this week. So if you want to get involved and help shape our shows, there is 2 ways you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or alternatively, get involved with our Discord. All the links that you require will either be listed in the chat for you now, or be listed in the description, whether or not you're listening or watching this over on our on-demand services. What we'll do then is take your thoughts and opinions. We'll then give our thoughts and opinions on the very next show, which will be on Tuesday, the 20th of June. Do stick around, though, because we'll send you over to one of our friends who is currently streaming at this moment in time. Do wish them well, as do I, for the rest of your day. And as always, there's one thing that we want you to do, my friends, and that is to stay frosty.